number 21 has 3 radicals in it. So we're going to have to set up a couple of restrictions here. Our first restriction is this term underneath the radical has to be positive. So we can set up our restrictions. X has to be greater than or equal to 0. And this entire expression over here has to be greater than or equal to 0. 3 minus 2 radical x has to be greater than or equal to 0. Let's subtract 3 from both sides. We'll end up with negative 2 radical x is greater than or equal to negative 3. We'll divide by negative 2. When we divide by a negative, we have to flip the inequality, and that becomes a positive 3/2. And then to undo a square root, we're going to square both sides. X has to be less than or equal to 9/4. So these are our 2 restrictions. And then we could set a restriction for this radical, but that will follow the same as this because it's just an x underneath the radical, which is the same as that expression right there. Okay, so now that we have our restrictions, we can go on and solve the problem. To undo a square root, we have to square both sides. So we'll take both expressions and square them, both sides and square them. This square cancels out the square root. We're left with 3 minus 2 radical x, and these radical and squares cancel each other out, so we have left an x on that side. Okay, so let's subtract 3 from both sides, and we'll end up with negative 2 radical x is equal to x minus 3. We can now square both sides to undo this x. We'll square this expression and this expression. Negative 2 squared is 4. Radical x squared is x. And then we'll end up having to FOIL again. So we'll have 4x is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 9 from double distributing or FOILing. We can combine our like terms on the right side. Negative 6x plus 9. That's a combination of negative 3x and negative 3x. And then we can subtract over the 4x with the negative 6x. So that will end up giving us a negative 10x plus 9. At this point, we can now factor, break down the x squared term, break down the 9 into its factors that add to negative 10, negative 9 and negative 1. Negative 9 times negative 1 is 9, and negative 9 plus negative 1 is negative 10. So x is equal to 9, and x is equal to 1. Let's check to make sure our answers meet the restrictions. These are both greater than 0, but 1 is less than 9/4, but 9 is not. So 9 does not work. It's an extraneous solution. So our only solution to this problem is x equals 1.